What's up everyone, it's Brad with the Hodl fandom. There are a ton of possibilities to what we can see with renting and burning of collectibles on Veve, but when we dig deeper into the gaming world and see what's currently being used and developed, I believe we can narrow down those possibilities. The key thing for investors and more so flippers like me, renting and in general collectibles tied to gamification will create a ton of new opportunities for people to make a lot of money. I'll explain how in today's video. Let's get into it. Let's first go over some of the renting possibilities based on gamification that either exists right now or is in the works. First, let's look at renting collectibles for abilities or traits in gamification. Let me explain what I mean by looking at the rumors that NBA Top Shot is working on, and that is an NBA Jam style of game. For those that don't know, NBA Jam was a 2v2 arcade game in the early 90s. I played it a lot, it was pretty fun. Now, Top Shot is rumored to have their moments represent traits that they can apply to their players. In those rumors, you can use like a 3-point moment to increase 3-point abilities, a dunk moment to increase abilities around the net, or a block to increase your defense. Now, those are just some examples. What can this look like in Veve? Let's say we have a racing game using DeLoreans in a weekly racing tournament. Let's also say that there is some group of collectibles. Maybe hoverboards represent some different trait. Could increase top speed, acceleration, agility, ramming power, or maybe a +1 on all stats. If you don't own the collectible, you could rent it and apply it to your vehicle for that race or tournament. Now, let's take this idea one step further, and let's also look at a partner of Veve that many people have forgotten about, Pixion Games. I believe they are helping build or design some parts of Veve's gamification. They have a game called Bash Arena, and if we look quickly into the details, it features a 3v3 game where you can equip skills such as fire, shield, and speed buffs. Again, applying these buffs is a common thing in gaming. Can we see buffs in our collectibles or comics tied together? I definitely think it's a possibility. So those are just two of the many ways you can assign traits or abilities to a collectible and have them in some kind of gamification. Let's move on to another way of renting, or another way that renting can be used, and that's looking at World of Warcraft, specifically with mounts. It was maybe like 15 years ago or so. I used to play this game a lot. One of the first things people try to do is to get a mount because, number one, of aesthetic reasons, and number two, significant time savings. For those not familiar with WoW, you can either walk or run from place to place using your little legs, or you can get a nice mount and just fly past those suckers. Renting for these purposes of aesthetic reasons and time savings is already a big market in most, if not all, MMORPGs. If you're priced out of the DeLoreans or any vehicle, but you need to run a mission on the other side of the Veveverse, and you want to do it in style, I can see people wanting to rent one for that purpose. The next two renting possibilities are right in front of us. Firstly, it's renting to access a drop. We've already had something similar to this where if you completed the serial killer set, then you got the serial killer's golden rabbit airdrop to you. Taking that one step to the side, instead of getting a surprise airdrop, you get access to the drop. That's not far-fetched, especially because the mechanics behind all of this prior to the drop work similar to the serial killer's airdrop that was already done. Now, what could this look like for Veve? Maybe, for example, there's a Back to the Future 3 drop, and to be eligible for that, you have to get a set, either the Back to the Future 1 or 2 sets. You have to possess them at the time you enter the drop lobby. You don't have to own them, you have to possess them. To me, this makes a lot of sense. We know David is a collector, and this incentivizes collecting sets, but it also allows those who are priced out of a lot of the collectibles, it allows them to participate for a much smaller fee. Another simple renting possibility that is right in front of us is in the Master Collector program, and that's to increase your daily points. For example, if you didn't know, you will be able to earn points for having a certain comic. You earn points by having a certain rarity. The higher the rarity, the more daily comic points you can earn. This type of renting incentivizes being a master collector so you can rent out your excess collectibles. It also allows all the others to fast track by renting at a smaller fee without actually buying the collectibles. All of which would be positives to the Veve economy, so that makes sense to me. Alright, now we get to my favorite idea, but this is a big topic because it touches on renting and can be connected to burning of collectibles. And that's with what other games call sets, or SBCs, squad building challenges. Now let me explain what those are. In NBA Top Shot, the biggest utility of having a moment is to complete a set, and that is defined as a group of specific moments that you need to possess. Not necessarily own, you need to possess those to complete the set for a reward, and that usually is a special rare collectible. And just so we're clear, I'm using the term set, but there is a difference in what Top Shot terms a set versus Veve. For Veve, it's the entire release of a collection. With Top Shot, this is a challenge that requires a subset of that release. If you complete that, then you get the reward. In Top Shot, the set has a limited time completion window. If you don't complete it on time, you don't get the reward. The key here as it relates to renting in Veve, for Top Shot, you don't need to own the collectibles. I've done this with friends of mine. I've given them one of the set requirements. They've completed it, they've gotten the reward, then they've given it back to me. Now, there's no trademark on this type of gamification, and I can totally see Veve implementing something like this, with renting being a mechanism for those who are priced out of the market. Okay, so let's transition from my thoughts on renting to now burning of collectibles. And to do that, let me point out the differences between sets in Top Shot and SBCs, or squad building challenges, used in FIFA Ultimate Team. Now, I'm not sure I should be proud, maybe a little embarrassed to say, but I was a pretty hardcore foot player up until about 4 years ago or so. Now, I guess it's the thing you do when you're a bachelor with a lot of time on your hands. I was pretty good at the game itself, but I was an elite trader. More on that after this segment because that's a big way how we make money. Let me talk about SBCs first. They're like sets in Top Shot with two big differences. You actually lose your collectibles. So when people ask what could burning look like, SBCs were and continue to be the first thing I think about. Also, the second big difference is requirements are more general. Top Shot specifies the exact player requirements. They'd say something like the Seeing Stars Jokic. But in foot SBCs, they say something like a gold team rated 84 or above, or minimum 3 Spanish players. Putting this all together, what can we potentially see with Veve? Let's say they release Amazing Fantasy 15. That's the first appearance of Spider-Man. I actually think, a little side note here, I think some people are mistaking that for Amazing Spider-Man #1. Amazing Spider-Man #1 is his first solo series. His first appearances is Amazing Fantasy 15. So safe to say it's going to be a super valuable comic. We also know from David Yu that secret rares were only supposed to be special rarities, not initially intended to be released on drops. Alright, so with that explained, let's say we have a drop with the common to ultra rare of Amazing Fantasy 15. But to get the secret rare, you need to complete the challenge or SBC. Now the requirements could be something like burn 10 collectibles consisting of any 4 commons, plus any 3 uncommon comics featuring Spider-Man, any 2 rare comics featuring Spider-Man, and 1 ultra rare Amazing Spider-Man #1. You submit these in the challenge, bam, they all get burned, but you get the secret rare Amazing Fantasy 15. So those are my thoughts on the possibilities we can see with renting in the Veve platform, plus my thoughts on how burning could work. These are all based on things that already exist in real world gaming. Now, big question, how do we make money on it? Like I touched on earlier, I was a pretty hardcore FIFA Ultimate Team player. As a player, I was good, but I was a hardcore flipper and trader. I literally consistently had a God squad because I learned how to work the market. I took just 10% of that knowledge to NBA Top Shot. Only a small amount because the level of gamification there is only what is 10% of what FIFA is. And in a short period of time when I joined that platform, even with that limited gamification in Top Shot, I turned less than $100 into thousands. Until the market crashed. And if you were holding collectibles, if you were holding moments, you got crushed. So I guess the first question you should be asking is, will the Veve market crash? I don't think so. There might be a temporary dip with the MTL, maybe. Maybe the Reese and the team watched my Top Shot market crash video. Maybe they took notes. In any case, the Ecomi team are doing things with what looks like intent to mitigate a Top Shot style of crash. How does this all equal money? let's pull up all the renting and burning possibilities I discussed. As long as there is that connection between Veve NFTs to the gamification, that creates temporary shifts in demand, and in some cases, shifts in supply of the collectibles. Each shift in demand or supply is a shift in price, and that's what you jump on as a flipper. I'm going to give you one example and show you how that creates a ton of opportunities. Okay, let's bring back up that SBC example with that secret rare Amazing Fantasy 15. The one we mentioned earlier. You needed 4 commons, any 3 uncommon comics featuring Spider-Man, 2 any rare 2 comics featuring Spider-Man, and 1 ultra rare Amazing Spider-Man #1. The first opportunities to flip is before the set is released. If you can predict the set requirements, you make money. For the 4 commons, people will be buying the cheapest one to complete the set. So you would stack Ultimate Fantastic Four #1s or Ultimates #1. For uncommons featuring Spider-Man, let's look at my comic market cap dashboard, filter on Spider-Man comics, and the lowest uncommon by market cap is Ultimate Spider-Man #1. For rares, that again is Ultimate Spider-Man #1. So one strategy is to stack those and flip in the hype of the challenge. Now, if you didn't stack those, there's more opportunities. Those that predicted the set wrong, they would have purchased the cheapest ones but got it wrong. And if they got it wrong, they're going to dump. When they dump, that price will crash and you buy. The market will eventually correct, and when it does, you make money on the delta. Now, those are 2 categories already, each of which have many ways to make some money. If you miss those, don't worry, there's more opportunities. When you look at the supply side of things, this is the best opportunity then to buy the secret rare Amazing Fantasy 15, since people are completing the challenge and selling those on the market. Once the set ends, once the timer goes to 0, the supply stops. There is no more supply, and the market prices will shoot up. As you can see with just this one example, there are a ton of opportunities. If Veve implements the gamification even just a little bit like FIFA, with sets, new ones weekly, tournaments with special requirements, and all the other renting and burning possibilities that I theorized in today's video, there will be so many more opportunities to make money. There are some now, but I'd say it's more like 80% investing rather than flipping. There is a big difference between those two. Now, when that happens, I have ideas to take this channel to a whole nother level, in addition to the content I already produced so far today. And that's to use the proven strategies to run the market. Anyways, these are exciting times. Please feel free to follow me on all socials, including my Veve account. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.